Great news. Dirty Keto is now on Amazon. If you're living in the U.S., go straight to Amazon and get Dirty Keto. Watch it, rate it, and review it. If you're outside of the U.S., meaning Western Europe or Canada or Mexico, it's not there yet. Don't ask me why. Listen, those people made me put a PG-13 rating on it when there was nothing in it that would have caused that. But let's get ahead of this thing. Let's watch it, rate it, and review it. Go get Dirty Keto right now, and on with the show.
Thanks for listening to Vinny Tortorich on NSNG Lifestyle Audio. From Los Angeles, California, this is the Fitness Confidential Podcast with Vinny Tortorich, founder of NSNG, and his co-host, Anna Vicino.
I am Vinny Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, just like the woman on the other mic. I'm talking about the beautiful Miss Anna Vicino. Yeah. Anna, I was just talking to, I'm going to say their names, Becky and Jason. Just got off the phone with them.
Becky and Jason.
Becky and Jason, they happen to be married. And wonderful people. They just got into doing low carb. Well, they started, it's an interesting story. They started about a month ago. I think Jason heard me on Mike Rowe. And
Roby's 3.0?
Mm-hmm. And they started doing what they thought was low carb. And then they watched the documentary, Dirty Keto, and they realized, oh, wait, we're doing the wrong thing. And then, the reason they called me was because Becky had one simple, well, she had three questions, but the first question was simple and straightforward. She said, in order to do this, does that mean the only thing I can eat is meat? And I said, no. You see, they went from dirty keto all the way to carnivore, and they didn't make a stop anywhere near low carb, right?
Right. That's called an overcorrection.
Yeah, right. So, we got into that for a few minutes, and I explained to him, I said, look, all you're trying to do, and we're going to talk that we're doing a 101 today. Anna, tell them which type of 101. We're going to get to it in a minute.
Holidays 101.
Yeah,
Where's the Christmas music? Let's play it.
And I just got rid of all my music because you pissed me off. So screw you. I'll find holiday music next week. Anyway, we started talking, and we talked about the holidays a little bit, right? But we're going to get into that in just a minute.
On people's minds.
I said, look, the whole idea behind all of this, I don't care if you call it paleo, carnivore, NSNG, Atkins, low carb, call it whatever you want. The name of the game is keeping your insulin in control. If you can keep insulin low, you can correct your A1Cs. She has type 2 diabetes. She's looking to get rid of that. She's on 3 medications. That's why I'm not saying her last name here. 3 medications. Right?
In case somebody accidentally prescribes her more medications. Is that why you won't say her name?
Yeah. But, she's not unusual. I hear this all day, every day when I do the consults. And the bottom line is, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're keeping insulin at bay, meaning you're not eating anything that will raise it. And yes, a potato will do that. A yam will do that. Eating too many beans will do that. So you have to keep all of that stuff on the DL until you get yourself fixed. And you need to go at least 30 days. As Anna would tell you, 60 days for a lot of people. But here's the beauty.
60. I really do.
She's already been on your website. And she says, I appreciate that Anna said, actually says, and I didn't know this, Anna, because I guess I don't go to your website enough. I have your books.
Why would you? Why would you go to my website?
I have your books. I got all 3 of the books. She goes, Anna says, look, some of these are not completely NSNG. How do you put that on the website? What do you say there, Anna?
Well, I mean, obviously any sweets or desserts are not NSNG.
Right.
So stay away from those. But I do write those recipes. We can talk about it later, but I do write those recipes so that you have an option if you want to make a homemade treat You have an option of making something that's grain-free and with the least amount of sweet possible. I don't work with the artificial sugar substitutes and the artificial sugars because they don't agree with me and I hate the taste of them. So if that's how you want to make your sweet treats, that's fine. But the whole point of Dirty Keto is to eat more whole foods.
Yeah.
I mean, not doing Dirty Keto, but watch Dirty Keto, the documentary that Vinny made. It's incredibly informative. And you might find yourself identified like, oh crap, I've been having keto crackers and keto bread and keto dessert and keto this and keto ice cream, and not knowing that you're making yourself, you're just giving yourself a chemical shitstorm and you're not allowing your body to heal. And what Vinny's talking about with the insulin, because you're eating all this processed foods. So I label very clearly when they're not NSNG. Okay.
Yeah.
But honestly, 99% of my recipes are. Now, that being said, we've got a gamut, Vinny. We've got a gamut. I don't make a low carb pizza crust anymore, but damn if my books, I have 4 pizza crusts and a calzone crust. Okay. That are low carb. I don't make them anymore because I don't need to do that anymore. I will take sauce and put it on meat and put a little cheese on there, and that gives me my Italian food feels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the way we do it.
I got to do a range of recipes for when people are new to this. You're a month into it. You might be really just jonesing for that pizza night that you used to have every Friday. Well, I have an option for you. I can't ask you to go completely, like you said, a carnivore. That would be crazy. Nobody would do it.
Right.
Everybody would disappear.
Right. And by the way, we have nothing. If you're carnivore and you're succeeding, and a lot of people do.
For sure.
Yeah, do it. If you're good with that, you do it.
The people who find NSNG first, try NSNG first, and then they tweak it to get on their way to whatever they do. Maybe they do dairy free, maybe they do carnivore, maybe they do, what's it called?
Well, fasting. I can tell you this.
Does something different.
I can tell you this. Most people that did NSNG for a long period, or some form of low carb that resembles NSNG, it's all about the same, and then they decided to go completely carnivore, they seem to always come back, because the one, and a lot of people stay carnivore and they're fine with it. The real problem that a lot of the carnivores have is mouth fatigue, and that's where Anna Vicino's books come in. Mouth fatigue.
What do you mean, mouth fatigue? Like they're bored with just eating ground beef
every day. It's just ground beef or steak. And I know that sounds great, but when it's that day in and day out and day in and day out, you get mouth fatigue. It's like the same thing over and over. It's like, your dog doesn't mind it, but you might. And some people don't. Some people don't. I tend, when Serena's not here, I go closer to carnivore, right? Yeah. But the way I beat mouth fatigue is I don't mind scrambling up 6 eggs for dinner.
Right.
Right. I don't mind going out, and I'll go out and buy, to Whole Foods where they have really good sausage, or there's a meat market, like a big meat, it's like an actual meat market, and they stuff their sausages fresh over there too, just like they do at Whole Foods. And I'll go there and I'll say, give me, 2 brats, 2 hot Italians, and 2 andouilles, right? I'll cook them all at once, and, that's like almost 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of meat, these big giant sausages. I'll eat, half of them the first night, half the second night. I'll have one of each of the sausages I just said. You put, you just chop those up, you eat them in front of the television, you're fine. Yeah. As you know, I'll do that. The next night, I'll take the sausage, add ground meat to it, and mix it up and put your arrabbiata, and have, that's how we came up with the triple crime, chili, and I'll put some eggs, some hard-boiled eggs in there. Mm-hmm. See, I have a way of kind of taking carnivore and changing it up. Third night, I might have a steak. Fourth night is going to be fish. As a matter of fact, I might do fish 2 or 3 nights in a row, because I'm kind of a fish freak. Yeah. I think I like fish more than the next guy. If I'm in Louisiana, I'll buy frog legs and stuff like that. Just other kind of meats. If I have venison in the freezer when Serena's gone, I'll do a venison. I'll do some either venison sausage or some rump roast or something like that. There's ways to change it up.
Oh yeah.
But when she comes back to town, she makes more delectable meals because she's really good at it. I'm not.
Right.
Right. So,
and I think the key is it's an evolving process. And a lot of times if you're listening to this podcast, you might be the only one in your household doing this, and you're looking for ideas and support, and it's hard, when nobody else in your family is doing it. But I guarantee you, when you start cooking this food, they're all going to come for your food.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It happens every time. And you better make extra of your kind of food. But I was also the mom who made 3 dinners, one for my picky eater daughter, one for my husband who had the carbs, and then one for me.
How did I not marry you? Where were you when I was looking around?
It's exhausting. And moms out there or dads who do that, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Anybody else who's never done it thinks it's crazy. And the people who are currently doing it are like, wait, you don't make 3 different dinners for everybody in your household? You can do it. But that's the whole point of those books. But I want to talk about what you did this weekend before we get to the holidays.
Yeah. I went up to DC on Sunday, and it was fortuitous because I was able to do that. And I started my thing with my Dupuytren's this week. I'm not ready to talk about the radiation of Dupuytren's yet. I want to see how well my hands do. It takes 12 weeks and you go back for 5 more things. So I won't give an update on that until, I see what it does. Right.
But Vinny, I'm glad you said something, because that night I was on a Zoom with friends, and a guy who's 10 years younger than me was mentioning that his hands he didn't say Dupuytren's, but he says his hands were stiff, and that his uncle had to have the surgery, like you were talking about with Adam Carolla, because his hands were going like that. And I was like, there's radiation. And I was able to tell your story to somebody because you told that story. So hopefully I saved somebody from getting a surgery in 10 years.
The one I'm told not to do, there's a shot. They could give you shots and it goes in and liquefies the problem. And apparently it fixes it pretty quickly, but it causes it to grow back really fast, and it comes back with a vengeance. So, look, I'm not telling you, I'm trying the radiation thing. I'm 3 days in. I go tomorrow and Friday, and then I'm done for 12 weeks, and I go back at the first of the year, and they do 12 more. But I was in D.C. on Sunday for it was a rally, Anna.
You gave a speech at a rally, right?
I did.
Is that what it was?
I did.
That's awesome.
And it was me and a lot of my friends. Everyone who's been on this show. As a matter of fact, I said it on stage. I said, everyone you guys are going to see up here today, they've been on my show. Except for Chris Palmer, who, guess what? He's coming on the show. He's going to be on the Friday show coming up in a couple of weeks. Actually, in December, he's coming on. But, Nina was there. Mark Cucuzella was there. Robert Lustig was there. Eric Westman was there. A couple of people I didn't recognize who are kind of new to this, but they were doctors. They were there.
I thought Tro was there, right?
Tro was there. Tro gave a nice speech. And here's the thing. I was a little upset that there were not more people there. But I think that, talking to the woman who, Jess Apple, who put this together, they were kind of under the gun, and they were kind of a day late and a dollar short. So they didn't really get a lot of the word out. But I was impressed that there was a couple of hundred people there, maybe something like that. And, I'm sure that they're going to put the videos online, and it's going to cause more people to see what's going on. Yeah. They had a guy who's, I'm not going to mention his name, is somewhat of a benefactor that helped this thing come together. I'm actually bringing him on my Friday show. I'm not going to mention his name yet, because he got sick off of a vaccine, but not the COVID-19 vaccine. He got sick with the Shingrix vaccine.
Oh no, I'm about to go get that one.
Well, I've taken my first one, but then I had to stop because I'm going, I'm not done with my,
you can't do
I'm in the middle of cancer, so I can't do the second Shingrix. But he had an immediate allergic reaction, which apparently does not happen very often, folks. I'm not saying anything bad against Shingrix. It's probably better to get it if you're of a certain age. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Do your own research. But I'm going to get my second shot as soon as I get cleared to be able to get another vaccine shot for that. And he had a terrible reaction to it and almost died, and used literally an all-meat diet after medicine didn't know what else to do with this guy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He healed himself with meat. He's one of those meat heal guys, right? So another strike for eating carnivore right there. People go, oh, well, you're talking bad about. No, I'm not talking bad about any of it. This guy cut all the shit out of his diet and corrected himself. And super nice guy. He's coming on the show. He was one of the big benefactors. We were all sitting around, we had a dinner afterwards at this restaurant. And I was at a table it was me and Nina, Georgia Eade and her wife, and this guy, this benefactor guy, and Jess Apple was at the table I was at. And they were talking about, we need to make change, and we need to make change and change and change and change. It's like, I said, guys, you know what? I've been doing this online for, 12 years. How long, Adam? 12, 13 years, something like that?
Almost 13 years.
Yeah. And, my
2012.
book.
We started early 2012.
My book has sold a gazillion copies. I said, Nina Teicholz's sitting right there, best-selling author, same kind of thing. And I said, if you guys remember, Nina in her speech talked about all of the stuff we've been able to prove, yet zero has happened as far as changing anything. Zero. Mm-hmm. So we're not really affecting change on a government level yet. People go, yeah, but it's one person who's like, yeah. But we need to start affecting change on a government. The government needs to start getting there. Just like the McGovern committee said, okay, we're going to go with this. Boom. Let's do a pyramid. It's got to be that kind of change. And we're just not there yet because we need to change institutions, meaning public schools need to change. What we're feeding these kids in schools need to change. Hospitals need to get on board. And we're not there yet. That's why I'm going to keep fighting until my dying day so that hopefully the next generation or two generations behind me will be able to figure this out. And Jess was sitting next to me. She goes, well, that's kind of negative. I said, Jess, it's not kind of negative. It's very negative. But you want me to sit here and lie? Nobody here wants smoke blown up their ass. I said, look, I'm looking at Georgia Eade. I'm looking at Nina Teicholz. I'm looking at Eric Westman at the next table. We all know the truth. And we're not blowing smoke up anyone's ass. We need to have more rallies and we need to get more people to get more politicians involved. Right? And the one thing I did say, and this might be the most political thing I ever say on this podcast, the only politician I've heard say anything about this ever in a good direction, and most people consider him a kook. I don't know if he's a kook or not. I don't know much about the man, is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK. He's the only one. He's the only one saying anything. Now, will that make a difference? Right? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, listen, Vinny, I'm in the streets every weekend giving out sauce samples, talking to people about what's going on with them.
Yeah.
People don't know what it is that you and I and all these people are teaching. It is not mainstream.
Not at all.
We are in our echo chamber in our groups, and that's great to support each other because it is a huge paradigm shift. From what we're fed from the mainstream. But you have to realize it is an echo chamber. And that's why it's so hard when people are just they hear you on Mike Rowe. It makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to try that. I'm going to get Vinny's PDF and I'm going to try this thing. You know what? I'll grab one of Anna's books and I'll try to make some things. And it feels good and it tastes good. I like this. But then you go and talk to the people in your world. Maybe you're at school, maybe you're at work, maybe you're at home, and people just think you're nuts. And it's so insane to me that real food has been so demonized that people will just oh, you're nuts. That's you cuckoo banana pants having a steak and some broccoli. That'll kill you.
Yeah, you're going to die of a heart attack. I mean, people still believe that.
It's crazy. And doctors too. And I mean, it's hard to talk to a doctor about it.
Yeah.
And they're good people. They're like, I don't know anything about that. So I'm going to say, no, I'm going to stick with the food pyramid and the whole heart healthy whole grains and have 5 servings of fruit and some vegetable, but let's be honest, they're talking about fruit, we're in an echo chamber and it's really important to be talking to people. That's all.
Yeah. And look, I see Mark Cucuzella. The guy looks like he can win a marathon right now. Nina Teicholz, hell, she was in my backyard in a swimsuit several months back. The woman has, she's in her 50s. I'm not going to give her age. Well, she's close to my age, closer to mine than yours. the woman rocks a bathing suit, you will go, oh, she's got the body of a 25-year-old. Eric Westman, right, who's my age, the guy is long and lean. Everybody that was on that stage, very fit, right? These are all fit, good-looking doctors, rosy cheeks. These all look like healthy people yelling this, and they're all MDs. Nina's now a PhD. I'm the only idiot in the group, right? But, we're all there yelling about this, and we're yelling, as I said at the dinner afterwards. It's like, I know you guys want to think we've affected some change today. We didn't do fuck. But we have to keep doing it until we are doing fuck. And that's the final word I'm going to say on that. We're going to do a quick ad for Villa Capelli, and we're going to go right into what you need to eat and how you need to be successful during holiday time. I was just talking to my best friend Becky and Jason about this 20 minutes ago, but Anna has a word about the best olive oil
you guys,
on the planet.
Did you see, was it a note from somebody who's very close to the show, and I was shocked that they hadn't tried Villa Capelli olive oil yet? Oh, maybe it was a note. I think it was online. It was Scott King writing to Stephen Crutchfield. I saw a post or a comment, and I thought everybody who's close to the show has tried it, but not necessarily. And Scott said, I cannot believe. I thought I had been having olive oil this whole time. I cannot believe how good it tasted to have Villa Capelli olive oil instead of just the store-bought stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's another paradigm shift where you're like, no, I have olive oil. Like, I've been buying olive oil. How much better can it be? It is so flavorful. It will blow your mind.
Let me say this, Anna, to capitalize on what Scott was saying. Before we started this podcast, years and years before we started, before you and I knew you at the time, but
yeah,
we didn't do the podcast. I was in Italy. And I was with Serena. It was early on in our relationship. And, honeymoon period when you still like each other. Yeah,
Right.
And I said, Serena, I think we were in Rome. No, we were in Capri. And we were and they poured the olive oil over the caprese salad. Right.
Yeah.
And I said, Serena, am I being romanticized by looking at the Mediterranean Sea off the edge of this cliff? And someone with a beautiful Italian accent just drizzled this over the top. I've been noticing we were in Rome, we were in all these different places. The olive oil here is not what we get in the States. And she goes, I think you're being romanticized by. No. This has a more. I used the word poignant. I said it's more poignant. There's something about it. There's character to this olive oil. It tastes alive, right? That's the only thing I can say. It's alive.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
It's kind of like live active culture yogurt versus dead yogurt. You can taste the difference, right? You can taste that peppery finish. You can taste the tannins. You can taste everything that's in that olive. And I never got that again until I was at Anna's house at the beginning of this show, and she brings out a shot glass with olive oil for me to drink in between shows, because I used to yell into the mic a lot and strain my voice. We did 3-4 shows. I'm choking now.
Oh boy, it's happening
listen, now. I'm telling you, it was a big difference. I went, oh my God, I feel like I'm back in Capri, right? That's how incredible it was.
So a few years into us doing the podcast, Stephen and Paul, the late Paul Capelli, the namesake of Villa Capelli olive oil, decided to sponsor this show, and we've never looked back, and it's been a great relationship because Stephen continues to make the most beautiful extra virgin olive oil, first press, cold press, and sends it to, I believe, Pennsylvania, and then they ship out our orders that we all make in the States from there. And if you go to villacapelli.com, make sure you use the discount code Vinnie, VINNIE. You'll get 10% off your order each and every time. However, we always say get your cart size around $140 to $145, because then when you use the discount code, you still qualify for the free shipping. You will not regret it if you just take the plunge and get the 3-liter tin. I started with the little 500, it was a 500 milliliter bottle at the time. Now it's a 750 milliliter.
It was bottle. A cute bottle. I got one, and then I kept that bottle forever.
I have my bottle still.
Yeah.
I have my bottle.
Yeah.
And a couple of my bottles are in the freezer with homemade limoncello, which I don't drink anymore and haven't for years, but I can't seem to get rid of it. But I love those little bottles. But now just take the plunge and get the 3-liter tin. You will not regret it. They have great salts and seasonings too. They have other oils, flavored oils. And enjoy Villa Capelli. They're incredible, and you're not going to find such care and detail from an olive oil food producer as you will from Stephen Crutchfield.
Anna, we're coming up on a candy holiday, followed by a pie holiday, followed by a cake holiday, followed by a drinking holiday. Did I cover that correctly?
Yeah. What's the cake holiday?
Christmas.
Oh, it's Christmas cake?
Yes, Jesus' birthday.
You're married to a Brit.
Yeah, it's Jesus' birthday, so it's a cake holiday.
It's a happy birthday.
Hey, you. It's your birthday.
Hey.
Yeah.
So this candy holiday, you know what's funny? I'm not feeling Halloween this year because I went to the store and I saw the candy out and I was like, what? But then I looked at we're recording this on October 16th. It's perfectly within, the time to have candy out in the stores. But I guess it was because I'm just busy with the book launch. So I haven't.
You haven't noticed. Well, you see, I haven't been in a grocery store for a bit. I noticed when I was in Whole Foods, probably a week ago, they had like, like fall stuff. You can see like, brown stalks of this and fake leaves around. Like they're letting it's fall. And I guess it was kind of Halloween-ish.
Yeah, it's autumnal.
You see, when I grew up, Halloween wasn't really a thing. Like you didn't, you just, it's Halloween tonight. Oh, you throw a mask on, you go around to the neighbors and they throw candy into this little plastic pumpkin you have. You come home, you eat your candy, you call it a day.
It's definitely way more of a thing than it was.
Well, when I got to Hollywood,
as a kid, for me, it was very important.
Yeah.
But we didn't get nearly the amount of candy that the kids can score these days.
It wasn't until I got to LA where, people would dress up and go to work dressed up. And it's like, is it because it's Hollywood and everyone wants to be an actor and they're acting out their favorite thing today? Or, I didn't know what it was.
LA does Halloween like I have never seen it any other place in the country.
Yeah. I mean, people are just nuts for it. And I went, okay. But then it's become a big deal. Like these pop-up stores, Anna.
Right, the Halloween Spirit or Spirit Halloween, whatever it's called.
Yeah, they'll take an abandoned, storefront and they'll do a pop-up store and then they go right from Halloween to Thanksgiving pop-up store, and then they'll go right into Christmas pop-up store, and on and on and on. So we all start.
What did they sell at the Thanksgiving pop-up store?
I guess they got a turkey in there or something. I don't know. But eating around that time. So how do you handle it? Well, if you're me, people ask every year, Anna.
Yeah.
Do you hand out candy?
Do you give out the candy?
I famously put a post up where the neighborhood kids, I had them, come to the door and trick or treat. And then in the next scene, you see them in the yard doing push-ups in front of me.
That's right. You got to repost that.
Yeah.
That's cute.
I feel weird handing candy out because I'm the no sugars, no grains guy.
Yeah.
And then, and so we just turn off the lights.
That's an option. Everybody knows not to go to the house with the lights off.
Yeah, we just turn off the lights and we kind of hide, away from, we don't watch television in the front room or whatever. And no one's home. No one comes. They know we're not handing out candy. Serena still buys a bag of candy in case someone does knock on the door, which means we end up throwing it away. No, we don't keep it around. I don't keep it around. I'm a sugar addict. So that's like saying, hey, Vin, you're an alcoholic. Go 10 bar, right? I would never take that job if I'm an alcoholic. Right. I can't be around liquor if I have a problem with alcohol. I can't have sugar in the house.
I'm going to argue something though.
Go on.
Because I did live in a trick-or-treat neighborhood in North Hollywood, so we had the candy, we gave it out, and famously am married to a sugar addict, so I had to get the candy. So now moving up here in the country, we don't have any trick-or-treaters, and I bought some candy for the little twins across the street who like to come over when they're done quick trick-or-treating, and then they get a little extra candy from us, but really I'm buying the candy for Lauren, let's be honest.
Yeah, right.
And but here's the thing, I want to say this. I think it was 3 years ago, because last year I was traveling and this year I'm going to be traveling. 3 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try I'm going to have a Reese's cup because that's my favorite candy. I'm going to put a little life into living. Let me have the Reese's cup. I got to say, hear me now, believe me later. It doesn't taste like what you think it's going to taste like.
Right.
Because if you've done NSNG for any length of time, you've changed your palate. Your taste buds have changed. And I literally had a bite of it and I was like, bah. It felt like it was so cloyingly sweet. I would much rather have a little spoonful of peanut butter and a bite of 90% dark chocolate than ever have a Reese's again in my life. And I know that sounds crazy when you're new to this because you're like, no, whatever your favorite candy is, you're real attached to it. Right. But I promise you can change your taste buds. And one day you'll say that. And that's part of the process. Go back and try it. And you're like, I'm disappointed in that, so I don't need to do that again. Yeah.
Yeah. But still, even with that, Anna, I'm a big fan of just don't have it. You get it out of the house. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you're going to hand it out, folks, when you're done, don't go, I spent all this money on this and throw it away.
The candy's expensive. Remember last year it was $14 a bag?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I remember that. And it's got to be worse this year because inflation's even worse.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So,
listen, if you have kids, you're taking them trick-or-treating. That's just what you're doing. The biggest thing to try to resist is when you're walking with them, don't stick your hand in the bag and have it. Have some food, have NSNG food, get full before you go out, which sometimes if you're taking littles out early, you're going to have to eat earlier, but just do what you can to arm yourself, especially if you're new, because if you have one piece of candy and you're a sugar addict, you know what happens then. You're just going to be ripping into them.
And here's the other thing. Your kids. So we have one kid, Tallulah, and Anna only had one kid also. So I don't know what you guys did, but I think we've talked about this in years past. She would collect all the candy trick-or-treating, and then we would do a thing where it was like, okay, select 2 candies. Go in that thing, select your 2 favorite candies. And we're going to take the rest, and we're going to save it for you. And whenever you want more, so like the next night can I select another candy, right? Absolutely. Yeah. She kind of forgot about it by the 3rd night. And then we would hang on to it for a week or 2. And once we got far enough away from it, we'd just throw it out.
When they're little enough, you can do that.
Yeah, no, we'd throw it out. But she got used to that as she got older. Even when she was like 13 or 14, she would go, can I have some more candy? It's like, yeah, you know where it is. And then she would just forget about it again. So she never I didn't want her to have an eating disorder, right? I didn't want her, you're never having this candy,
Of course, that's what happens. If you withhold it.
Right. But she would just kind of forget about it after a while. And then, after we got past a couple of weeks, Serena would just throw it out, Yeah. And then that was that, right? So that's the easiest of all the holidays. The toughest, I think, is the one that comes up right behind it, the pie holiday.
Thanksgiving's my favorite, and it's also the busiest on my website because I have chosen to, over the years, create NSNG alternatives to pretty much everything on the Thanksgiving table and also come up with some new ones. I did put together a little PDF called Eat Happy for the Holidays where I put all those recipes together plus a bunch of new ones. And there's still some that I have not, like a pumpkin pie. I started my pumpkin pie journey completely sugar-free. And it smelled amazing because pumpkin spice smells amazing. And then you take a bite and it tastes like you ate air. There's no flavor. It's so strange. However, what I came to figure out from a little chemistry lesson was that the sugar with the pumpkin spice is kind of what brings it all together. Right. So I was like, well, let me figure out how to make this with the least amount of sugar possible. And that's always my theory with the desserts. I try to take out the sugar altogether. They're all grain free. I try to take out the sugar altogether. If it doesn't quite work and we do want it to be a treat, I'm going to add back in a little sugar, but I, disclose that. And you guys are adults, by the way. The thing where people open the cookbooks and immediately open it to the dessert chapter and then are outraged that I would dare to put that in there. It's really funny to me because I'm like, it's not jumping off the page and making you make it.
Right.
That's a you choice.
Yeah.
But I want to give you that choice because you're an adult and you deserve to have choices. So Thanksgiving, I've got the turkey, and I leave them all up on my website for free. I'll be putting them over onto my Substack. I'm transferring everything over to Substack. So between annabacino.com and annabacino.substack.com, you can do an entirely NSNG Thanksgiving. You do not have to make a pie. You do not have to make any sort of candied yams. You will get full making cauliflower mash, turkey. You don't even have to make turkey. You can make a roast if you want to. I know Vinny doesn't love turkey.
We do rib roast. Yeah. No, we do rib roast. I have a rib roast recipe for free on my site as well. Like, I've got all that there. There are people who do completely NSNG Thanksgivings. When it's just Lauren and me, he buys himself a pie from the lady baker's table because he loves her pies, and I can't eat it anyway. And then I make the turkey and the gravy, low carb gravy. I make the cauliflower gratin because that gives you little cheesy vegetable feels. Mm-hmm. And, or sometimes I'll make a cauliflower mash, but usually I make the cauliflower gratin, and then I'll roast either Brussels sprouts or broccoli. And we're full from that. Like, we don't need more food when it's just the two of us. If I'm bringing stuff over to people, I always make NSNG versions. If you're having a Friendsgiving, make sure you're making NSNG versions of things, because you shouldn't sit there feeling left out like you can't have the same food as everybody else. It's an eating holiday. It revolves around eating. Yeah. And by the way, just to let you know how backwards we are about what the truth is, every year, and you're going to hear it again this year, and I just want to bring, this doesn't mean anything, but it lets you know how backwards we are when it comes to food. Every news channel is going to talk about tryptophan and how turkey has tryptophan, and that's why everyone falls asleep after, the Thanksgiving meal. You would have to eat the whole 22-pound turkey to get anywhere near the amount of tryptophan to actually cause a problem. The reason you fall asleep after you eat is not because of the small amount of turkey you had, is because you had the turkey gravy that was full of, that gravy was full of flour. You also had a stuffing that's full of carbohydrates, followed by mashed potatoes, carbohydrate, followed by some kind of either pecan pie, pumpkin pie, apple pie, carbohydrate, and that it shoots your blood sugar really high, and then it plummets, and there you are watching the afternoon college football games, and you can't keep your eyes open. It's like someone drugged you, right? It has nothing to do with the little tiny piece of turkey that you happen to have with the large amount of gravy that was poured over it and all the other carbs. But again, that's one of those little lies that media tells us, oh, tryptophan is going to make you fall asleep. Bullshit. So let's get past that holiday and go to the next holiday, Christmas. I get that Thanksgiving is tough. It's tough for me too. I'm going to be in Louisiana this year on Thanksgiving, right? And
you're going to have all of your childhood temptations there.
Well, Serena and I are cooking the meal, but I explained to her, because my brother and his wife, we're going to my brother's house, but we're taking over his house because he's becoming a grandfather for the first time, and he and his wife are going to be in Florida. So Serena and myself, we're taking over Thanksgiving.
You're like moving in the house while you're visiting. And taking
over. My parents are going to come over there, and my brothers and the whole thing. And I explained to her, I said, look, Italian Thanksgiving, someone's going to bring a lasagna, someone's going to bring a this and a that.
Yeah.
And even though we're going to do a rib roast, we're going to do a smaller rib roast because I just don't eat turkey and I want to enjoy the meal.
Yeah.
But we're going to be doing a turkey, right? We have to do a turkey. It's just what it is.
You got to do my turkey recipe. It's the best turkey.
Well, I will tell Serena to do that.
It's so good.
Unless
dry brine it first.
You got to remember, Anna, I'm going to be in Cajun country. They may request that we do the deep fry.
Dry brine it and put Cajun spices on it first. So let it sit with that. Then do your deep frying.
Okay, so you can still do that.
Fry. You can still rub the butter and the anchovy paste on there.
All right, good.
It's real good.
Tell everyone where they can find that recipe, Anna.
AnnaVicino.com.
Okay.
Or and Eat Happy for the holidays. I want to ask you this, because some people do an entirely NSNG Thanksgiving and Christmas. Some people choose. I always say Christmas Eve. I allow myself 23rd and 24th and 25th. I can have whatever I want, and it's so funny because
3 days.
I can't. But I can't eat whatever I want. That's the thing. I literally can't. After one day of doing that, like, because on Christmas Eve, we always have tamales. That's the tradition in our house. And I have a half of a tamale and I feel like I want to puke because I'm so full.
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to eating any corn, much less a wad of masa. Tastes delicious.
Right.
I'm not arguing that, but I allow myself to have that tradition with my family. And I guess too, I wanted to point out, if you're allowing yourself to have some life into living and that's the thing that you're going to do, I like the advice that you give about just get right back on the very next meal. Just get right back on. So when I allow myself, okay, we have the people over for vodkas and latkes the 23rd. We have the 24th. We have that thing. And then we have Christmas dinner. It's by the time I'm done with Christmas Eve, I am done having any bites of carbs because I just don't feel good. I don't like it. But I always give myself that permission if I want to.
For Thanksgiving, I pretty much stay low carb and allow myself a piece of pie. That's my life into living. I allow myself a piece of pie. And to be honest with you, some years I don't even do it. I might just do a little sliver of it or something and then just go straight for the coffee because, it's kind of like an alcoholic.
About the coffee trick.
I will. I'm like an alcoholic. A little is never enough. 1,000 is never enough. And one, you know the whole thing. I don't know how that saying goes. I'm going to, me with malaprops. But yeah, I'm going to have a small piece of whatever kind of pie I decide I'm going to have, whatever's there. And then I immediately have coffee. Now, a good stiff black coffee is the way you want to go. If I'm doing this at home, I have an espresso machine is right behind me, right? And espresso works better, but I'll just start drinking coffee right behind, get that taste out of my mouth, and then I can move on. I can enjoy the pie, have my coffee, move on, right? Christmas, I usually don't look at the dessert for Christmas. That's when I go for the savory carbs. If there's a dressing, Serena does it's a British thing where she cooks she makes chunks of potato and somehow she, put them in the oven and then drop them in hot oil and it makes like a puff pastry.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happens, or the potatoes are really cold and then you do something, and I usually enjoy that with a little gravy. So every holiday I have that one thing I want to do. Thanksgiving, I have the little piece of pie. Christmas, I don't do the pie or the cake. My life into living is these incredible potatoes that Serena makes exactly once a year. And Tallulah loves them. Everyone loves them.
But see, that's the thing. Everyone has their family traditions of these meals. So that's why I say, like, if you don't want to have it, fine. But if you do want to have it, fine. Make your decision and line up with it.
And some of the Scott Thomases are coming over. They're going to be here for Christmas. And they bring a lot of we're going to have this tradition and that tradition. And I'm going to try something, right? Alcohol on those holidays. Yeah, that's usually when people have one more drink than they should and they get in fight with relatives.
That's true. Hey, I got the eggnog recipe for you people.
Yeah, I tried to make Anna's eggnog and I ended up making custard. It was delicious custard.
Yum.
Yeah. I was able to eat my eggnog. Alcohol is poison. I will have a small amount. I never get drunk. I never drink too much. Usually, with the Christmas and the Thanksgiving meal, I might have a glass of wine. That's where a glass of wine might come in because it feels special and it's holiday-y. So look, don't beat yourself up about that meal. Enjoy whatever you're doing, but get right back on it. Now, the biggest 101 tip I can give, Anna, and we didn't mention it yet, is when people leave, have them take food with them.
Yeah, send all of the trigger foods away.
Yeah, get them out, and whatever's not taken, throw it away. Just throw it away. If don't waste turkey meat or anything like that. You can eat that the next day.
Broth with whatever you have left over.
Yeah. That's all fine. But any of the carbohydrates, the pies, the cakes, the dressing, let it go away. Either throw it away or let people take it. When someone's leaving your house, they got to take something with them. Because when we close that shop down for the night, when we close that kitchen down, there can't be anything for me to go, let me go hit a little bit more pecan pie.
Yeah, you don't want to go get a nibble. No.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
Off the table.
Look, people will go, oh, yeah, we ended up eating turkey sandwiches for the next week. Sandwiches are made with bread, folks. Bread is something you shouldn't have every day, right? You just had it on the holiday. Just eat whatever you're going to do, whatever life into living you're going to do it on the holiday, not the day after, not the whole weekend. Right. Oh, it's still Thanksgiving weekend. My family's still in town. We're still hanging out. I'm going to keep blowing it out. Be disciplined enough to jump right back in.
Well, because that's when the benders happen, and then people don't want to recommit until, I would like to say January 1st, but then people are hungover and they don't really want to commit till the Monday after, whatever the first Monday of the new year is. That's where we get our most downloads. And I mean, you and I celebrate Christmas, so we mostly are coming from that perspective, but this is a little secret that I've never said on the air, Vinny. I make the best latkes you've ever had.
Really?
Ever. And I've been making them for years. And then I stopped because I went NSNG. Well, this year, because I have, this is going to be the third, until 2 years ago, I would make them for vodkas and latkes. I now have the most amazing low carb latke recipe that's in Eat Happy for the Holidays using zucchini.
Really?
And pork rinds.
Serena, for the non-Jewish folks out there, explain what a latke is.
Anna. I'm Anna.
What would I call you?
Serena.
Oh.
That's
Anna.
all right.
For the non-Jewish folks. A latke
is a potato pancake, and you serve them with applesauce and sour cream. So if you're going to, and it's a fried potato pancake, you fry it in oil. You make them fresh, and you fry it in oil. So, I mean, it's not deep fried. You're pan frying them, but still, you're basically.
You have to eat them right away. Yeah, they got to be eaten right away because they don't taste good.
And it's going to be a blood sugar bomb.
It is.
If you have latkes and then applesauce. Also, too, I put a homemade applesauce in there.
Yeah.
Because don't use store-bought applesauce. It's so easy to just stew up some apples with some spices and have them fresh with lemon juice. But so the zucchini latkes are so good. And it shouldn't surprise me because I make the best latkes. I'm not even Jewish. I'm sorry. Everybody out there is like, I'm going to put you up against my grandma who makes the best latkes. Your grandma definitely makes better latkes than me. Other than your grandma, I make the best latkes.
Anna is Jewish adjacent. She's not an actual Jewish person.
That's correct. That is correct.
She's Italian, which is Jew with better shoes, I guess.
Sherry Klein, my friend Sherry Klein calls the Italians the fun Jews.
Yeah. I've always liked that one. Yeah. Which is very not even true because Jewish people are comedians, let's be honest. Look, they make a dreidel out of clay. They don't have good games.
No, they don't have good games, but they're funny.
Yeah. Oh, they are the funniest people on the planet.
They only had the art of comedy, stand up, and.
Well, look, they've been through a lot. If they can't,
exactly.
If they can't be funny at this point, no one can.
Really yummy food that's very high in carb. I have yet to figure out a low carb matzah. Don't write me about a low carb matzah ball.
It's not going to happen.
Not happening.
No,
it's not happening.
No,
just stay away from the matzah.
Matzah is matzah. I've actually had people say to me, wait, matzah is unleavened. That means I can have, no, it's still a ball of carbohydrates. Doesn't matter if you didn't put yeast in it, but that doesn't fix anything, right? It's just.
It's a ball of crackers. It's a wet ball of crackers.
That's basically
delicious,
what it is. Yeah.
But that's what it is. New Year's Eve. I mean, can I just throw this idea out there?
Go on.
Grill up some steaks and grill some lobster tails, have a celebratory dinner, but don't have a bunch of carbs. Is that so crazy? Like, can we be done? New Year's Eve to me, I don't love New Year's Eve.
We don't do it. So I have trouble giving, I could talk about Christmas and Thanksgiving, but I can't talk about New Year's because we don't do New Year's. Unfortunately.
Stick to like the surf and turf. Surf and turf is a classic New Year's Eve dish that is very NSNG. And if you want to throw some roasted asparagus or some, roasted broccoli bacon with it, great. You're going to be so full if you have steak and lobster tail, you're not even going to need any meat jewelry.
Yeah.
The idea is that just try to stay away from whatever like champagne floaty drinks that are so sweet. You gotta keep those at bay. And or else you're going to wake up with a massive headache.
I'm going to leave the audience with this.
Okay.
Last night, I slept over in D.C. because I had my hand done last night, and then I had a schedule to go in this morning for my next one. So I didn't want to drive back. So I've done that twice where I've slept over.
Good.
So I went for a steak last night. I said, you know what? A brother could use a steak right now.
Yes.
So I went to this wonderful steak restaurant there in Alexandria, Virginia, and these two women, beautiful women, walked in right before me. They were standing in front of me waiting, and so the hostess sat them, and then when she came and sat me, she sat me adjacent to these two women. I was sitting in a booth. I'm by myself, so they put you in a booth. They kind of hide the sad people in a booth. But I'm looking at these two beautiful women. Now, both of these women were morbidly obese, right? And I'm looking at them. It's like, now I'm interested because I'm interested in what people do. It's like, okay, they chose a steakhouse. Maybe they're carnivores. Maybe they're eating low carb, the whole thing. They both started with a glass of wine, fine, and a salad, right? And they both had, the big creamy dressing on the salad. Both had a creamy style dressing. I don't know what it was, but you just know there's a ton of seed oils and a ton of just everything right there, right? There's probably sugar in there. There's probably dextrose, what have you. I went, okay. And then that left the table. And then they both had it was a soup looking thing. So I was looking at the menu, and it was the chowder, right? They had it was a bisque. It was a crab and something bisque.
Well, a bisque is going to have flour in it.
And they didn't have a cup, Anna. They both had a bowl. So now you have something with a lot of flour in it, and they've already had a ton with the salad with the on top. And now they're having this. Yeah. And okay, I'm just paying attention. And then they, by the time I was almost done, they were still doing that. I'm finishing up my steak, and then they both had a steak, right? They both had a steak come. And I heard the woman mention to the friend, hey, what are we getting for dessert? We're going to split a dessert? Yeah, I want the creme brulee. What do you want? So they're already talking about the dessert, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, this is the average American, right? They have the salad.
It feels like a massive amount of food.
It seemed like a massive.
Regardless of carbs or anything, it just seems like a lot.
It's a lot of food. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I had a 12-ounce steak. And I did have him bring me an appetizer. You mentioned surf and turf, and that was for me. I had him bring me out the jumbo shrimp cocktail, because I was really hungry. I hadn't eaten all day and the whole thing. And of course, they bring out the, and I know that they have crap in that. So I just took some salt.
Cocktail sauce, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't use the cocktail sauce. I took some salt from my table and sprinkled it on the shrimp, and then took some black pepper and did the same thing.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. But I just did that, and they were delicious, just like that, with shrimp, with salt and black pepper. Now, I get it. I'm a freak, right? Most people say, oh, let me just bathe it in this cocktail sauce. But I didn't want, I know there's seed oils in there. I didn't want to touch it. I figured it was dextrose and everything else. I'm being overly conscientious, I guess. But when I left there, I was full because my metabolism is not broken. Right? My brain got the signal. He gave me a ton of protein with this, and then he had that steak with butter on it. He gave me some protein and fat. I paid my bill. I left, right? And all I could think was, man, what if I could get more people like these two beautiful women to pay attention because they were young. They weren't that old. They couldn't have been any more than 35 or 40. But they were both morbidly obese. There's no other way, no other way to describe it, right? And I get it. Their brains were telling them they're hungry because that's what goes on. The ghrelin and leptin. One is telling you can never be full, right? The other one's telling you you're hungry. And it was right there in front of me. And I look at that and I think, God, if I could just get to these people, I just want to get to more of them. And that's what this podcast is about. That's what we're talking about today. We're not trying to create an eating disorder over the holidays. We're just trying to get you to calm down what you're eating over the holidays. Does that make sense, Anna?
Absolutely. I'm trying to keep people from going on a full-on bender because I feel like, again, we come back to the idea where people think it has to be they're either on the wagon or off the wagon, you know? And I want everybody to feel like they're in control of their choices and they're not at the whims of what their family is making. You can take matters in your own hands. You can there have been so many Thanksgivings and Friendsgivings that I'm bringing dishes to, and there's no shame in my game. And you know what? People come for my food. They come for my food. They eat my low carb stuffing over the stuffing that's being served.
Yeah. Your stuff is amazing.
All I ask is that I get a little bit of it before everybody else takes the rest of it.
Yeah. You got to put a little bit on the side, Anna.
You can choose however you want to do it. And if you hate Thanksgiving food, then.
Oh, Anna locked up there. Hopefully she's coming right back. Let's see here. Come on, Anna. She's still locked up for whatever reason. Well, while Anna is locked up, we were getting towards the end of the show, so I'm going to go ahead and start landing the plane here, and hopefully, it looks like she's getting ready to queue up again. Well, Anna is trying to come back.
I don't know what happened. Sorry about
you're
that.
there. I was just getting ready to do your plugs. Folks, she's annavocino.substack.com. Anna, you want free stuff? Listen. I gave you 10% off olive oil earlier in the show. Now I'm going to give you free stuff. annavocino.substack.com. That's all you need to know. Now listen, if you want the good stuff, go get Eat Happy Italian. I got mine sitting right here. I got to bring it back up to the kitchen so I can make some of the stuff. Eat Happy Italian is sitting right there to remind me to tell you guys about it. The book is out. I see everybody holding their books up on Instagram. There it is. Anna is showing it to you.
Oh, we have the prosciutto giveaway winner, Jonathan Hetherington.
You can't make up that name. Jonathan Doesn't
it sound like a character from Bridgerton?
Yeah.
Jonathan Hetherington.
Yeah. Of the Northeast.
Lord and Lady Hetherington of the Manor.
Yes. The Hetheringtons.
Yeah, he won. Now I have to make good, and I have to actually buy a leg of prosciutto and send it to Jonathan Hetherington of New Jersey.
Yes, of the New Jersey Hetheringtons.
Jersey Hetheringtons.
Okay, folks, you know what to do with me. We all go shopping on Amazon. By the way, when you go to Amazon, you could get my movie, Dirty Keto. It's the only place to get it, Amazon. You got to put in the whole word, Dirty Keto. Go watch it. The people I was just talking to, I was talking about them earlier in the show, Becky and Jason. Becky and Jason. Yeah, they found Dirty Keto and they wanted me to clarify stuff. That's why they did the phone call. So you go check all that out. I got a special song for us to go out on. We haven't done this one in a long time. So here it is, folks. On behalf of Anna Vocino, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with one Miss Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls. Come on. I'm going out tonight. I'm feeling alright. Gonna let it all hang out. Wanna make some noise. Really raise my voice. Yeah, I wanna scream and shout.
Listening to Fitness Confidential. Get more information at VinnieTortorich.com. Remember to rate and review us on iTunes and follow Vinnie and Anna on Instagram and Twitter.